LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is a phenomenal game. The charm and the humor I was expecting. What's really been blowing me away though is the creativity and the technical improvements that we're seeing in this game compared to prior LEGO games. I mean, I'm just standing on Tatooine right now and look how good these characters look. It's kind of hard to believe. One thing I've been really enjoying as well is the degree to which the game changes the original story in order to make funny or fun gameplay moments.
Jedi slime! Myself.
I think he's talking to you, sir.
Yes, I believe so.
Obviously, the cutscene gags are totally expected, but what's shocked me is how LEGO Star Wars has made me fall in love with one particular character who was always sort of just in the background before, and I'm talking about Captain Typho. So, for many, if not all of the boss fights, a second character will tag along with the main combatant, and I assume that this is for cases where two people are playing. As an example, if we're talking Revenge of the Sith, for the final battle against Anakin, Obi-Wan is accompanied by the two droids, C-3PO and R2-D2. For his battle against Grievous, he is accompanied by Commander Cody, which I actually really liked. And my favorite version of this is when you fight Palpatine as Yoda, you're accompanied by, of all people, Captain Gregor Typho. And unlike the droids at Mustafar, Typho is not a passive combatant here. He is fully engaged in not only the cutscenes, but also the battle itself. As Palpatine and Yoda are locked in a duel of the fates, as Captain Typho, you can shoot at the Sith Lord from far away, or you can jump up to him and smash the butt of your blaster against his old, wrinkled head. And the game fully plays with that. It doesn't act like it's something that's happening just because this is a two-player game. This isn't the elites being included when you play with 4 people in Halo 3. This is a narrative choice that gives the game so much fun and I think so much extra heart. I just really love that Typho here is presented as a heroic character and how he's someone who's otherwise kind of a minor role in the movie, but the game made me unironically really like him, and I just think that's super cool.
Come on, Master Yoda. We can't let him escape.
I also think that this role is quite fitting for Typho. Now, unlike the traitor Captain Panaka, who would go on to join the Empire in both Legends and canon after the events of Revenge of the Sith, Typho was actually a ride-or-die Naboo OG. In Star Wars Legends, Typho, the absolute mad lad, tried to kill Vader himself as he mourned the death of Padme, who he blamed Vader for, and he dies after a failed assassination attempt. Star Wars canon doesn't give us quite as much information, but from Revenge of the Sith, we certainly know that he cared a lot about the safety of Padme beyond that of even just a bodyguard. But yeah, those are my thoughts generally about Typho. Now, for those who don't know, I have been streaming my playthrough of LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga right here on EcksToo at night. You gotta make sure you turn those notifications on so you can catch the stream. And of course, based on this video, I recently did just finish Revenge of the Sith. And since I've got you here anyway, I do think it's a good time to give some of my thoughts on the prequel trilogy. So I had high expectations for this game. I knew gameplay-wise it probably wasn't going to reinvent things. It wasn't going to be challenging, especially after playing through the Dark Souls games and Elden Ring, but I gotta say, the game is actually even better than I expected. LEGO feels at this point almost like the anti-live service game. Obviously, yes, there are DLC packs, but it gives you a lot of things that games don't have nowadays, like cheat codes, like accessibility options, all which serve to make the game fun and easy to play for people of all ages. If you want to, you can turn off damage from explosions, you can turn off fall damage, you can make it so every secret and collectible is easily highlighted on your map. All the challenges that require you to get studs can be made easier by getting stud multipliers, and as someone who hopes to play this game with his young son, I really appreciate that. You can also do things to make the game more challenging. You can make it so health doesn't regenerate and you can only get health back by killing enemies and picking up hearts. You can turn off a bunch of hints and whatever else, but personally, that doesn't really matter to me. What's so good about this game is just experiencing it. This feels like it is a full Star Wars experience, but with that LEGO touch, and that is what I was expecting, but the way they've actually broadened what they've included in these games while selectively trimming out some of the more boring sections, I think is really impressive. I'm pretty blown away by the scope. You start episode 1 and the Naboo area that you can play in is absolutely huge. I spent probably half an hour just exploring it and I didn't get close to everything that was there, especially because the game really encourages you to come back back and revisit areas with more characters. But just in that first trilogy, there are major locations on Coruscant, Kashyyyk, Naboo, Tatooine. Flying to and from those locations is also really fun. You can get in space battles. I was somewhat surprised to learn that the ships actually have different stats. Like the Corvette has a slower firing laser, but seems to do a lot more damage, at least based on my testing. And the games include all of these for those who want to explore, but also still manage to be tight gameplay experiences if you just want to play through the games as a story. I've had to kind of rush episodes 2 and 3. My daughter hasn't been sleeping well, so there's always sort of a ticking time bomb when I start playing these games, and I beat each of them in about an hour and a half to 2 hours without touching any of the exploration. That's still pretty impressive, as it implies like a 20-hour experience without going for any sort of completion of the game whatsoever. If you want to 100% this game, which I'm considering doing just because the game world is so charming and so lively, it's probably going to take you like 50 hours if not more. But when you play Revenge of the Sith, the stuff that wouldn't make for a fun LEGO game just isn't there. Now, I do have some complaints on that end. I wish that certain scenes that were cut weren't. The most notable example of this, of the prequel trilogy, would be the Battle of Coruscant. The third game essentially opens with you crashing into the deck of the Invisible Hand, which is fine, but it would have been really cool to have a sequence where you're flying through the battle on a quasi-on-rails section, especially where the ship stuff is so cool this time around. And especially where episode 3 has a lot of talking and not that many possible gameplay sections. On the other hand, at times I felt like episode 2 did drag on a little too much, but it was still a great experience overall. So those are my thoughts on Captain Typho, and of course the wonderful time I've been having with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. It was totally worth temporarily moving to New Zealand to unlock it on my Xbox early. But what do you think? What was your favorite episode that you've played so far within the game? Do you have a favorite boss fight, a favorite side character who's continued along on the boss fight? I will note, I thought it was really cool as well being able to take Commander Cody against Grievous. I definitely tried to smack Grievous around with the clone as much as I could. I look forward to reading all of your comments down below. Until next time, guys, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.